Hello and welcome back. Today we're talking about amateur astronomy. My name is Brian, and in this series we're doing 300 videos, each of them on a specific hobby. And in each of those videos I'm going over 5 sub niches of that hobby and telling you guys how to monetize for each sub niche. So please make sure you subscribe, hit the bell notification, and stay tuned for additional videos for hobbies you may already take part in that you love doing. And I'm going to tell you guys how to monetize the products you're already using with some very simple steps on social media. Okay, so the first niche we're going to talk about under amateur astronomy is stargazing for beginners. So this is people who are brand new to stargazing. These could be anywhere from young children all the way up to older adults. And there's a big learning curve in just knowing what the constellations are, right? Learning the names of them, things like that. And there are a lot of ways you can monetize this. So let's get started talking about how you can make money with beginner stargazers. In this category of beginners, there are a lot of things you can market, and you're probably using some of these already. So you can simply showcase the products you're already using and have affiliate links for those products. But some of the things might include binoculars, mobile apps, and affordable equipment. Keep in mind, this is for beginners, so this is very basic stuff. And a lot of people get into hobbies, and with time they learn a lot of things about the hobbies. And what we take for granted as basic knowledge or general consensus knowledge of a topic is oftentimes pretty far out of whack for somebody who's truly a beginner. So when you're creating content for this category, it's good to remember, like with any other niche, that people who are brand new to this are going to have a lot of basic terms and a lot of basic understanding that they have not developed yet, and they need help developing that. So when you work with this category, it's good to be teaching people as if they have no knowledge of the topic. So make sure you're using vocabulary that they can understand. This category has great monetization potential, and the best formats you can have for content are actually quite large for this category, because astronomy intrigues so many people, so many different walks in life, that reaching them on multiple content platforms is easier than with other hobbies. So preferred content formats for this category would include YouTube guides, gear reviews, TikTok explainers, how-to blog posts, and YouTube long form and short TikTok videos are probably going to work best, although blog articles are excellent, and Pinterest can be really good as well. Pinterest, you can post a photo and a short article in there and have affiliate links within that little post. So let's talk about some video ideas for this category. So a great video for this category of starter astronomers would be the best telescopes under $500, or top 5 telescopes for beginners in 2025. You could also do something like an unboxing video. So unboxing my brand new $500 telescope, or something like unboxing a beginner telescope. So for this, once again, we're working with beginners. So something very simple like how to set up your telescope for the very first time could be an excellent how-to video where you actually unbox the telescope and set it up, and maybe look through the stars with a camera through the telescope and talk about how you got everything set up. So that right there has huge potential for making money, because you're selling a telescope. If it doesn't come with a tripod, maybe selling that separately, a camera mount, all that stuff can be affiliate links within that video and within that content. And it's very helpful for people who are beginners, because these people oftentimes have no experience setting stuff like that up. So this goes back to the very beginner mindset of things, where people are learning everything. Stuff you take for granted as common knowledge is not going to be in the beginner's mind yet. And so it's your job, when you're creating content for this category, to teach them the beginner steps, stuff that seems absolutely silly to you. Maybe talk about your favorite stargazing app. Okay, so I'm not real familiar with astronomy apps, but I do know there are apps out there where you can actually time the constellations and know where to look, when to look, and the coordinates to look at to see specific stars or constellations. And so walking through the app with somebody on your, whether you're using it on your phone or your computer, and screen recording that and sharing how to use that app to find whatever it is you're looking for can be very, very helpful for people who are brand new to astronomy. So in this category, when you're creating content, it's great to showcase the excitement of finding a star or finding a constellation, or being able to track it and photograph it and things like that. So you want to emphasize that in the content. It's also important when you're talking about gear that you're utilizing, or products that you've used, such as maybe the app, or maybe a telescope you bought, or a phone mount you bought. It's great to talk about the positives, but also include the negatives that you've had with your experience utilizing that product. So for example, if you've got a telescope set up and you've gone through a how-to process on how to set up the telescope for a beginner, talk about the camera mount that you're using, if you're using a camera mount, and say, I had problems getting it to attach to the telescope, and this is how I fixed it. or I wish that this camera mount had this improvement. And things like that are really going to help beginners. There's going to be a lot of frustration in the beginner class on basic setup of equipment, learning how to set it up, learning how to utilize it. And when you talk about the struggles you've had utilizing that same equipment and how you solve those problems is going to be very, very helpful for this category. And then when you're actually selling a product within the content, once again, we're not selling, we're helping people find the right product for their situation. It's important to talk about the negatives that that the product has, in addition to the positives. I said this in a lot of my videos. You're not just rambling through the list of benefits to the product, you're also listing the flaws in the product, what could be improved, what you wish they had left off or added to. Things like that are going to really help you to build trust with your audience. And once again, we're working with beginners here. So stuff that you've already figured out how to utilize is going to be a complete headache for them a lot of the time, and helping them get through that with either a different piece of equipment or how-to video is going to be massively helpful, and it's going to help them stay around on your content long term. Another great content idea for this category would be something like why you don't need a $1,000 telescope or why you don't need a $10,000 telescope, okay? You're wanting to make the gateway to entry in this category as low a standard as possible. So you want to get as many people interested in astronomy and keep them in astronomy for as long as possible, because it's something you're passionate about and it's something you want to share that passion with other people, right? Bringing people into astronomy and keeping them there by helping them through the steps is going to benefit not just you, but it's going to benefit them as well, which is a big thing when you're doing content on social media and when you're doing affiliate marketing on social media. Okay, so I want to talk about the second niche under amateur astronomy, and that's astrophotography. These are people who are wanting to take high quality pictures, stars, planets, etc. This is a different demographic. Somebody who started out in beginner astronomy or stargazing is eventually going to probably move into one of these other categories. You can tap into these other categories from a beginner's perspective and really be helpful for people that way. Now, with astrophotography, you're looking at something where you're in a completely different ballpark as far as product prices go. You're going to be using much more advanced equipment, obviously, because now you're adding photography equipment to the basic stargazing equipment. Somebody might start out stargazing with a pair of binoculars. They want to move into astrophotography. They might still use that pair of binoculars at first, but eventually they're going to want to move into a high quality telescope and high quality camera. There's huge earning potential in this category because people are moving up in class from the beginner level equipment to a more advanced or maybe even high-end setup in order to get good quality photos. As they're starting to take photos of the stars and the planets, they're going to realize there's better equipment out there, and maybe they don't buy it because they can't afford it, but they're going to want it. A lot of the companies who sell high-end telescopes and cameras offer payment programs. When you sell something through an affiliate link like that, you have the potential to be making hundreds or even thousands of dollars off of some of these purchases because the price points go very high in this category. In this category, your best platforms for marketing materials are going to be YouTube, blog posts, and Pinterest. Also, Instagram, I think, would be a great one because you're going to the availability of pictures to post, like you capture a picture of a planet and it looks spectacular. You post that on Instagram with a link in the description and talk about the equipment that you use to capture that photo. That could be an excellent monetization way for this category. Now, in this category, your best types of content are going to be how-to types of content, and step-by-step tutorials are also going to be great as well. Some content ideas you can use in this category would be how to photograph the Milky Way with any camera, or best DSLR settings for autophotography beginners. Or if you want to move into the photo editing aspect of this, you can sell that as well. You can talk about before and after edits of night sky for beginners, or for intermediate users, or for advanced users. So there's a wide variety of content you can produce. Once again, tapping into the beginner niche is going to be great, but also if your knowledge is already high enough, you could teach more advanced stuff. That would work really great in here as well, because the beginner is going to move into the beginner type content in astrophotography, and as they learn, they're going to want to move up to more and more advanced stuff. So if you're selling editing software, for example, teaching people how to use a basic editing software can be great. Then move into immediate level and then an advanced level photo editing software, and each of those can be sold as affiliate links as well. You can also talk about price point comparisons. So $200 camera versus $2,000 camera would be a great one, or $2,000 telescope versus $10,000 telescope. That would be another great video topic. You can also do content like the top 5 autophotography or astrophotography. You can also do content like the top 5 astrophotography cameras in 2025, or the top 5 astrophotography telescopes for 2025. That kind of content is going to sell really well. It's giving people the information they're looking for. You're giving them reviews of the product. You're giving them a setup of how to utilize the product. You're walking them through how to get the picture they want, how to edit the picture they want. And that is going to be massively helpful for everybody in this category. It's also going to tap into the beginners as well, like I mentioned before, because the beginner's knowledge level is going to be growing. Now, once again, when you're working with this category, it's good to really showcase the simplicity of the equipment that you're using, whether it's the actual physical equipment or the actual editing software that you're using for the photos. This is going to be a very visual heavy category, so lots of good quality pictures are going to benefit you greatly. The photographs, gear comparisons, tutorials, and comparison charts of equipment are going to benefit you greatly in selling products to this category of viewer. All right, let's move on to section 3. Okay, so astronomy for kids is section 3. So this is going to be content that's viewed a lot of times by kids, but also by the children's parents who are wanting to help them get started. So in this category, you're going to have a lot of people like homeschoolers who are trying to teach their kids something, or maybe some parents or school teachers even who are wanting to do something with their students or their children to be more interactive, or maybe in the school aspect trying to teach them something they've been learning in class. Maybe the class wants to go out and look at the stars that night. The information for this kind of content, you're going to want to keep it very basic, similar to what you have for the beginners, but more simplified. So you're going to be talking to kids in this kind of content. Now, you don't want to just completely lower the level of the content to, say, a third grader, but you do want to be able to have kids watch your content and understand it, especially when you get into stuff like talking about star maps or how to utilize equipment. You want to make sure it's something that a child can understand and walk through and do it themselves. There are a lot of kids out there who maybe don't have their parents around in the evening. Maybe their parents are working or something, but the parents have been able to buy them a telescope for Christmas, and the kid wants to go out and find a specific star. And so helping them with content like that is going to be very helpful to the kids, but also for their parents or teachers or whoever else is trying to help them get started. So you want this to be kid-friendly content and kid-friendly products on this kind of channel. And once again, if you're working on amateur astronomy and that's going to be the type of content you're producing, if you pick one of these niches and decide to move into another niche, it's great to set up a different profile for each niche that you're going to get into, okay? Some of these can blend. You can do stargazing for beginner content on any of these channels. Same thing for astronomy for kids. You could have some of that content on any channel, but you really want to focus in on one of these 5 categories I'm talking about, and for each one have an individualized channel. So you're only selling 30% at the rate you could be if you individualize these into their own channels. So like I said, if you start out with stargazing for beginners on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, whatever, move into astrophotography, set up a new profile for astrophotography on each of those platforms and share that content on that other profile, because you want to keep these categorized based on the core interest of that group. You don't want to have too many core interest variety on one channel, because your audience becomes too diversified and a lot of people are felt kind of left out because they're not getting the content they're looking for or wanting. At the same time, it makes it harder to style your landing page, etc., for the right products for each of those categories if you're blending them together. So for astronomy for kids, section number 3 here, again, we're going to talk about some good topics or video titles that you can utilize. And if you guys are following this video along and want more content, you can go over to the blog article, because each of these videos I do has a blog article with more content than I'm including in the video. You can actually go to that blog article on brianduclos.com under any of these categories. You can go down through the blog article, find the category you're interested in, and there are 3 links there to affiliate companies and affiliate platforms with products that are applicable specifically to that niche. It also has 3 suggestions for titles on each kind of social media and on email campaigns as well. So you can take those and copy paste or edit them or put them into ChatGPT and ask it to modify it based on the content you're producing. And so you get a lot of ideas and you get a lot more profile data in the blog article than you do out of the video, but it's too much to include in one video. So go check out the blog article. It'll give you more information and clicks directly to affiliate sign-up pages for the equipment in each niche. Now for titles, under the astronomy for kids, some stuff you could do would be things like fun kid reactions to seeing planets, or best astronomy kits for kids that are fun and educational, or how to teach your kids the phases of the moon with Oreos. So things like that that are fun, they're interactive to the kids, they can, have the kid and the parent or the teacher interacting, and it gives them some ideas on things they can do. They don't have to just be staring through a telescope, but there are things they can do outside of looking through a telescope to understand astronomy better at this age range. Now, when it comes to selling for this category, the audience is largely going to be primed to kids, right? But there are going to be a lot of parents wanting to watch this so they understand how to teach their kids. So you can emphasize stuff like the STEM educational perspective for kids learning astronomy, right? Science, technology, engineering, math. Astronomy falls into that niche. So enhancing or promoting or pushing the educational aspect of astronomy can be excellent for selling the stuff that you talk about and utilize in your videos. You also want to emphasize the safety and simplicity of the equipment that you're talking about for this niche. And you want to make sure you're positioning yourself as a trusted source of information for this niche, because once again, as affiliate marketers, I don't want you guys selling products. I want you to sell products that people are looking for or that they truly need. We're telling them the positives and the negatives. That way you're a trusted source. You're giving them all the information that you can on that given topic at whatever level of information you have, and you're letting them make an informed decision. Of course, you're going to guide them to the link in your video description for the products you're utilizing in the video, but you're not pushing them to go buy the product because it might not be applicable for them, or it might not be the best product for them. And so you want to make sure that they are buying the right product for them. Somebody teaching astronomy to a 6-year-old is probably going to use different equipment than somebody teaching astronomy to an 18-year-old, okay? So keep that in mind when you're creating your content. We're not pushing sales. We're giving people information and showing them the tools we utilized to get us the result we're showing them, and letting them choose whether they want to buy that product discount with your link, and thank them for doing so because it helps you as a content creator, and they get benefit of a discount usually by utilizing your links. So you're helping them and they're helping you. You're helping them twice because you're giving them a discount most of the time, and you're giving them information that they've been looking for, and you're giving them guidance to the tools that they are looking for. So it's a great place to be for a content creator, to help people out in multiple ways and get the reward of being paid for it. Fourth category we're going to talk about is tracking and events. This is primarily going to be an audience of people who are wanting to track events and things like that, such as people who want to watch the International Space Station, meteor showers, or solar eclipses. This is a different genre, and I want you guys to be aware that there's a separation between number 4 and these other ones that I've already gone through. Same thing with 5, it's going to be different as well. You want to categorize your content for that niche. It's so important, guys. Riches are in the niches, right? So it's a saying that's gone around for a long time on social media, and it's very true. If you want to make money, stick to a specific niche with your content. Now, in this category, your best platforms for publishing content would be X, YouTube, blog posts, and email campaigns. This category is going to be looking for different types of gear than these other ones, obviously, because it's a different niche. This category is going to be looking for tracking apps, calendars, alerts, and gear that can help them track events, especially if it's a moving target like a satellite or maybe a solar eclipse. They're going to want tracking equipment that can work correctly for the given situation that they are observing. This one also works really, really well if you want to do live streams. I've seen some really cool live streams where they're tracking a launch of maybe a SpaceX rocket, or they're tracking a solar eclipse and they're live streaming that, and people absolutely love that kind of content. And you don't even have to talk in that kind of content because you're just doing a live stream of a solar event, and the live stream is going to bring the audience in. That's what they're there to see, is the live stream of that event. Maybe it's somebody in China watching and they can't see it from that side of the world, and they just want to see what's going on. I tune into stuff that's live all the time from around the world, and it's something that I want to see, but I can't physically be there to observe it. But I do want to see what's going on, so I'll tap into those live streams, okay? Same thing goes for this. If you do a live stream, you don't even need to talk, but you can do a little pop-up on the screen and direct people to go to the link in the video description to buy the equipment that you utilized to track that event and stream it. The streaming software also has affiliate programs, you guys. So you have a lot of opportunity to make money on this with relatively little effort. You're just going to set your equipment up, track an event, and then have your link in the video description to your landing page. The landing page will have the equipment you used to track that event and to share it on a live stream. So it's very simple, easy content. You can do stuff like the 3 apps for meteor shower alerts, or how to track the ISS with your phone. You can do stuff like time lapse of a meteor shower, or real-time ISS flyover video, or you can talk about the best space apps for 2025. And once again, these tracking apps a lot of the time will have affiliate programs as well. This category works really well for time sensitive stuff because these solar events might happen once in a lifetime. And so you want to have the time sensitive urgency feel for those kind of events. So people are tuning into your content. You want to make sure you're promoting apps and gear that help people actually track these events for themselves. It's great to utilize stuff like countdowns for an event or real-time tracking. Like I mentioned, live streams are great for this as well, and drive the urgency and the fear of missing out kind of thing for these conversions. So you guys have maybe a solar eclipse. It's going to happen once in a lifetime in that part of the world. You can talk about that, be like, you need to get this equipment now. This is the best equipment that I use. This is the equipment I use to track a similar event in my area, that kind of thing. So once again, you don't want to sell people the wrong product, so make sure you're explaining the product thoroughly enough they make the right decision for themselves. But this is great when you're tracking events, especially once in a lifetime events, to make huge revenue off of some very simple videos. All right, so the fifth category we're going to talk about is the deep space and advanced users. And my grandfather, he's passed away now, he would have fallen into this category. He had somewhere around $30,000 into his telescope. The thing was absolutely massive. It had an 8-foot tube on it, and I think it was 30 inches in diameter. He also had about, I think it was an $8,000 camera that he used to hook up to that telescope to track events. He had, I think, 3 different telescopes. All of them were really expensive, and multiple cameras. So he would have fallen into this category. I'm not huge into astronomy myself, but I can resonate because my grandfather had some phenomenal pictures of solar events and simple photos of planets, just unbelievable quality. He also did a lot of photo editing himself, so he could clarify images a little bit, and it was a really amazing thing to see. Unfortunately, that was 20 years ago. He didn't have access to the equipment we have now, but it would be pretty amazing to see what he could do with today's modern equipment. This category, your best bet for content types are going to be YouTube review videos, deep dive blog content, comparison guides, which are great for YouTube videos. And the best platforms are going to be a blog, YouTube, Reddit, and forums. This is also another one where you can tap into Instagram and just share a picture with a descriptor of what you utilize to take that photo. In this category, you're going to be working with people who are putting a lot more investment into their equipment. Like I mentioned, my grandpa he probably had somewhere around $60,000 of equipment, and this was 20 years ago. Today, that would be even more because the dollar is devaluating. The stuff today is more advanced, but it's also a lot of the times more expensive. These things all have affiliate programs, so you guys can make some fatty commissions off of selling these products. And a lot of the things in this category are reoccurring transactions. So a lot of these apps have affiliate programs that pay you on a monthly basis. Content ideas for this category, you could do stuff like zooming in on Andromeda with different scopes, or geeky gear breakdowns in under 30 seconds for a TikTok video or a YouTube short. Or you can do comparison videos of telescopes at different price points. It's another excellent thing. Camera comparisons at different price points. Or you can do stuff like how to read deep sky charts like a pro, or complete setup for capturing nebula. In this category, you're working with the most advanced users out of these 5 categories. You want to make sure that you're really speaking the language of these people. These are more advanced people. They have probably years of experience and significant amounts of money invested into their equipment, and you need to be speaking on their level. It's not the category where you're speaking to kids or beginners, right? So the most advanced group out of this category, completely different language from these other categories, and much deeper overall knowledge base to work with here. Make sure you're speaking at your level, but make sure if you're going to do this kind of content, you're speaking at their level as well. You need to understand this very thoroughly if you're going to be working in this niche. This category loves accuracy, detail, and data. So make sure you're tapping into each of those things in your content. Don't be just throwing up content where you're just talking about something without backing it up with either photographs or hard data or something to prove the point that you're trying to make in that content. This is another great category. If you want to monetize outside of affiliate marketing, you can create your own user guides, or even have something, if you're on YouTube, and have a join button where people can pay to be subscribers on a monthly basis and get exclusive content. You can have live streams on there where people are paying on a monthly basis to go on a live stream with you, where you actually delve into some deep space exploration yourself, or maybe you walk them through how to do something you've recently done. Things like that can be massively beneficial. I hope you guys have found some benefit in this video. If you haven't subscribed, please do that. And remember, I'm doing 300 different hobbies, each of those with 5 sub niches. And I'm talking about all those and how to monetize them on social media. So stay tuned for the next video, and thank you guys for watching. I'll see you soon.